It's been a tough few weeks for India, one tragedy after the other. In April, you had the terror attack in Pahalgam where 26 innocent tourists were killed by terrorists. That was followed by India's Operation Sindoor and a brief conflict with our neighboring country, Pakistan. Then, in early June, there was the stampede in Bengaluru. 11 people were killed as fans thronged the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium to celebrate RCB's first ever IPL win. Next, an accident at Mumbai railway station near Mumbai where passengers fell out of two moving trains. 4 people were killed and 9 were injured. Then, of course, there was the chilling Air India crash in Ahmedabad, one of the worst aviation tragedies in India's history. AI 171 was on its way to London from Ahmedabad. This flight crashed seconds after takeoff, and all of this nightmare was captured on camera. 270 people, including 241 people on board, were killed in this crash. Everyone is still trying to come to terms with that devastating air crash that happened a couple of days back. Over the weekend, there were 2 more tragedies. One was in Uttarakhand. A helicopter crashed in Gaurikund forest, killing all 7 people on board. This incident was the 5th such chopper crash in 6 weeks. Poor visibility and harsh weather conditions have been blamed for Sunday's chopper crash. And then there was this tragedy in Maharashtra's Pune. A 32-year-old bridge over the Indrani River collapsed, and this led to loss of lives and injured people. The Maharashtra government has announced a compensation for the victims, but as relief operations are now ending, there are some concerns emerging over the safety of the bridge, which was supposedly brought to light but then subsequently ignored by authorities in concern. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. 4 deaths and more than 50 people injured. That is what happened when a tourist attraction became the epicenter of a nightmare. Let's start from the beginning. There was an iron bridge over the Indrani River in Maharashtra's Pune. The exact site was Kundamala, a popular but offbeat tourist site about 30 kilometers away from Pune and near Talegaon Dhabade in Mawal Taluka. Several tourists were at this spot, enjoying the view amidst the monsoon and clicking selfies. Eyewitnesses say as the crowd swelled in the area, the bridge was shaking for a few minutes. Eventually, this narrow bridge collapsed. Many tourists standing on that bridge fell into the river. Around 20 to 25 people were swept away by the strong currents of the Indrani River. Many others were injured, and officially, about 5 people were killed. Here's what one of the injured told news agency ANI. There was a huge crowd on the bridge. The road was jammed due to vehicles coming from both sides. The crowd gathered at one place and the bridge collapsed. People standing in the middle of the bridge were swept away. We fell on the stones and got injured. In fact, there are before and after images of this bridge as well, and one can see how narrow it is. Officials say the bridge had a width of just 4 feet. This means that there is very limited space, and in terms of two-wheeler, there is only space for a single two-wheeler to go at one point in time. However, at the time of the tragedy, there were around 7 to 8 bikes on the bridge in addition to the huge crowd. National Disaster Relief Force officials say they were at the spot within minutes of this accident. The state government has announced ex gratia payment of 5 lakh rupees for the deceased and also offered to bear all the medical expenses of the injured. Initial probe shows the high number of tourists and bikes on the bridge was the cause of collapse. Reportedly, this narrow footbridge was packed with over 150 to 200 people when a section of this bridge gave way. So bikes and several tourists. Together, this is believed to have led to this tragedy in Maharashtra's Pune. This is something that Maharashtra Minister Girish Mahajan also confirmed as the cause of this tragedy. For the locals of the nearby village, this bridge was an important connector. It was a convenient route for villagers, farmers and milk sellers from villages on both sides to cross the river, to access either sides. The Indian Express reported that now that the bridge has collapsed, villagers will have to take a 13-kilometer detour to reach the other end of the bridge. Which brings us to the question of safety. Weren't red flags raised if there was a problem with the bridge? In fact, there was. You see, this bridge was constructed way back in 1992. It was handed over by the Public Works Department to the Pune Zilla Parishad for maintenance, who clearly did not do their job. Reports say that the bridge has been in a dilapidated condition for years now. NDTV reported that the local administration had not conducted a structural audit of the bridge in the past few years. This is despite the locals of nearby Indori village writing a letter to the PWD. 2 years back, the Gram Panchayat demanded the repair of the bridge and a ban on the movement of tourists as far as this bridge was concerned. But this did not yield results, and eventually the locals decided to put up a board themselves. This board was put up in Marathi by the local sarpanch near the tourist spot. It says that the bridge is in a dilapidated condition and that tourists should not go there. Officials later admitted that the bridge was indeed unsafe for use. Post, of course, Sunday's crash. Now, reportedly, every weekend in recent months, around 8,000 people were passing through this dilapidated bridge, even as it did not have the capacity whatsoever to handle the crowd. Yet, despite all of this, there was no security deployed at the site to ensure that people do not gather and that this bridge is out of bounds for public use. No security measures, no maintenance, and defying permission. The perfect recipe for disaster. In recent years, there were efforts to renovate/maintain that bridge. But again, proposals never moved and never fructified. Last year, BJP MLA, minister and current working president of Maharashtra BJP, Ravindra Chavan, had sanctioned 80,000 rupees for the repair of the collapsed bridge. A letter of him officially sanctioning this money has also gone viral. However, this money was not used for the repair work of this bridge. In 2017, the MLA at the time had written a letter to authorities demanding the construction of a new bridge over the river. His purported letter is also gone viral on social media. The former MLA had said that the current bridge was narrow and that money must be sanctioned to build a wider one as it will help local farmers, workers and students to reach and access either side. In fact, after yesterday's crash, Maharashtra Minister Girish Mahajan admitted that fresh tenders were passed to build a new bridge. These tenders, Girish Mahajan said, were worth 7 to 8 crore rupees. But construction did not begin due to the monsoon. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said that this tender was awarded on the 10th of June. So there was no way work could have been completed so fast either way. Chandrakant Wagmare, who is the additional Chief Executive Officer of the Pune Zilla Parishad, said they were not clear about who was exactly responsible for the maintenance of this bridge that collapsed yesterday. Which still brings us back to two main questions. A, why weren't enough security present on ground to ensure that no crowd gathers, like we've already asked? And second, what happened to that 80,000 rupees that was sanctioned by the BJP minister? Was it used for any sort of maintenance, especially in the last year and a half? The crash from yesterday clearly gives us the answer. So in that case, where did this money go? Remember, this is not a first time that we have seen a bridge collapse in India. There have been a bunch of them, especially in the state of Bihar. In 2022, Gujarat's Morbi saw distressing scenes. A pedestrian suspension bridge over the Machu River collapsed. At least 141 people were killed and more than 180 people were injured. This 19th century bridge had reopened 5 days earlier after being briefly shut for repairs. And this was opened in time for Diwali and the Gujarati New Year. It was reported at the time that structural failures, excess crowd, had allegedly led to this collapse of the Morbi bridge. And the structural failures included corroded, broken suspension cables and old suspenders. So clearly, no sort of maintenance work was done whatsoever. Subsequently, a local industrial group called Oriva and its head Jaisukh Bhai Patel came under the scanner. This company, Oriva, was given the contract to repair, renovate, maintain and operate the Morbi bridge. And it was this company that decided to reopen the bridge to the public 5 days before the disaster. Days after the Morbi bridge collapse, Oriva MD Jaisukh Bhai Patel was arrested and named as the prime accused in this case. Later, he was granted bail by the Supreme Court of India. Cut to November 2024. Visuals of Patel being honored at an event organized by the Patidar community in Morbi district went viral. The felicitation was for the Pran Pratishtha of the Uma Sanskar Dham temple on the outskirts of Morbi town. Patel was honored in his capacity as the son of late O.R. Patel, who was a philanthropist and the founder of the Ajanta group. At the event, Patel was weighed in modak on a scale which is a symbolic gesture. But of course, no accountability, no word on accountability as far as the deaths in Morbi is concerned. So should one expect the same accountability in case of yesterday's Pune bridge collapse? That is zero accountability or no accountability. For that, your guess is as good as mine. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.